We are back with another edition of the Quarantinecast. I'm actually no longer in quarantine as of today, but anyway, the Quarantinecast lives on. I am joined by Malcolm Gordon, UFC Flyweight. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. How are you guys? How are
Not
you? How are you?
not too bad. So I'm in Halifax, and we just, like I said, just opened up. Jiu-Jitsu opens up on Monday. What's it been like for you this past year with all the restrictions there?
Yeah, no, it's yeah, like Toronto's been pretty strict, I guess, right? The whole Ontario, well, it's not Toronto, but it's Ontario, whichever. So yeah, it's been difficult. You know what I mean? We got to do secret training sessions, obviously, because everything's closed, and then yeah.
Do they have any special exceptions there for like if you're in training camp, are you allowed to train with like high level athletes, or is that a no go for everybody?
Yeah, I like it. It's like kind of one of those like it helps, I guess. I don't know. There's been no like clear, like you know what I mean, like clear. This is how that works. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think a couple of times we got away with like being able to show like a bout agreement or something like that, and not being enough to validate training. You know what I mean? But like that was completely on a whim, and like there's been no saying, okay, yeah, if you have a bout agreement, that works, right? So like, yeah, it's tough.
And at the same time, I think you are managing a gym there as well in Toronto too. So very weird times to be doing that. What's that been like?
So as soon as I got signed, I unfortunately I couldn't continue to manage that gym. It was Toronto BJJ, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, no. As soon as I got signed, like this was kind of like the full-time gig per se. You know what I mean? I had to just like do 100% on that. My brain wouldn't allow me to focus anywhere else.
So you're back in action now. You're fighting there on July 17th. You're fighting Francisco Figueiredo. Your thoughts on the matchup?
I think it's a good fight, actually. And like same thing, like you know what I mean. Like it doesn't matter, dude. Like you're fighting in the UFC, you got to take every fight. There's no like okay, like pick and choose whatever. Like they give you two names, they give you one name, whatever. Whoever they give you, you say yes, right? It's like we're fighters, and that's just it. You know what I mean? You know, it's what else? Like you know, who else do you want to fight? But like you know, the next top guy or whatever. You know what I mean? Every time, and there's no like I'm not going to turn away from a tough fight because why would I fight in the first place, right? So that's it.
I've been watching you on the regional scene, and you had a lot of success in TKO up here in Canada. Why? I guess what's it going to take for that success that you had? I mean, you were knocking guys out. I mean, arm bars in the first round. You defeated Yanni Sherbatov, who's highly respected. What's it going to take for that success to translate over to the UFC?
I think third time's a charm. That's it. Because like I don't know, man, it's just different. Like everything kind of felt differently. I think the first time I was in between. I don't know. There's so many excuses, right? There's so many reasons, but I just third time's a charm. You know.
Yeah, that first one was on Fight Island. What was that experience like going over there? I mean, definitely not ideal for your first UFC fight either. But like you said, no excuses. Third time's a charm. But what's it like? What was it like to go over there for your UFC debut?
It was fun. It was good. You know, it was a cool experience. The first time I ever actually had gone like overseas. So that was like, you know what I mean? Like just being on just like that plane ride itself, you know what I mean? It was nuts. So yeah, like, and you know, fight didn't go my way. I was super bummed out about it, you know, especially like, you know, being submitted the first time I had ever been submitted in my career, first of all. And like, I don't know, like, you know, so anyway, so, you know, just like, yeah, you know, it was super unfortunate. And then, but it was a good time. It was a good time aside from that.
The UFC jitters. There's so much talk about that. You know, guys who make their UFC debut and they have those jitters. Did you feel any sense of that at all?
Yeah, I was telling my buddy, and it's still like one of those things that kind of like I think you gotta like men, you know, like we growing up, you watch UFC, you know what I mean? Like you probably watch how many fucking UFC, like you know what I mean? Like it was the same way for me. And just like the coolest part about it, which was also like the weirdest, was like I like remember distinctively, iconically, the blue mat. You know what I mean? Like that blue mat. I don't know, whatever. For some reason, the blue mat. And like, so just getting in there and just seeing the blue mat, I'm like, holy fuck, this is actually like UFC canvas right now. You know what I mean? Like, for sure that popped in my head the first time. So, yeah, for sure. You see it on TV, you see whatever, and you always like, you're like, shit. You're when you're trying to get there, and then when you get there, it's like, holy fuck, this thing is like, you know what I mean?
I talked to TJ Laramie, who you know very well.
Yeah.
He said he doesn't really feel like he's a member of the UFC roster until he gets that first UFC win.
Yeah, me too.
Is that something you agree with?
100%. He's not wrong with that. 100%. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like it's a rite of passage, man, because it's not easy. It's not easy. It's different in there. You know what I mean? I had a lot of fights, and like these guys, it's different.
I know for a long time, it almost seemed like you weren't going to get that shot. You were competing on the Canadian regional scene. You couldn't get fights there between 2019 and your UFC debut. And then on top of that, the flyweight division. It looked like it was, wasn't gonna last. It looks like it was gonna fold. Was there a point where you were like, you know what? I feel like this dream isn't going to come?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, at the same time, I felt like I don't even know. I probably would have like tried to like bulk up or something like that and go into 135 if I had to. It is what it is, though. Do you? Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Do you feel like that's something that a lot of Canadian fighters can relate to? I mean, you like there's guys like Xavier Aloui who have just kind of fought in the regional scene forever. Now he's over in Brave, but obviously his dream is UFC. Louis Sanadakis, Josh Hill for a long time. Do you feel like this is something that's common with Canadian fighters?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough here. Not a lot of shows, and like, yeah, it's just tough. It's small, like whatever. Yeah, it's crazy. Josh Hill had a great. I think he made on the Ultimate Fighter show, whatnot.
Yeah.
TJ. Yeah, I don't know. I think hopefully it gets better. I just know that it's impossible to put on shows in Ontario. It's very difficult. Well, other provinces don't have a problem with it. And then, yeah, if you're going over to the States, you know what I mean? Like, you're basically going over there to be like, meat or, otherwise, because it's like it costs so much. Like, they're covering your travel expenses and stuff like that. Some of these shows aren't making much money. So, like, it's just easier for them to pull local guys, right? So I think the only way, like, I think it's just hard enough for some of these athletes to get exposure because of that. And then, yeah, that's it.
Do you feel like because there's only like a select few Canadian fighters in the UFC, do you feel like extra special that you get to be one of the few that are holding that Canadian banner?
Yeah. It's a lot of pressure on your back though too. It's you got to represent.
Absolutely. When you look at, I want you to just kind of take a trip down memory lane. I mean, guys from the U.S., they all have like wrestling backgrounds. Wrestling is offered in programs in high schools. In Canada, we don't really have the same sort of luxury. What ultimately led you to the sport of mixed martial arts?
I don't know. It's a weird one. You know what I mean? I originally started with jiu-jitsu, but it's just I'm not really sure why that kind of stuck. Now I started off playing hockey first. I was a goalie, and you get in a couple fights on the ice or something like whichever, and actually, well, yeah. So it was all actually at the same time. Anyway, like it's just like jiu-jitsu has always stuck, and then the whole martial arts, like just how all the pieces get put together. The chat like that, just that game in general, and just always having to overcome like these mental obstacles all the time. You know what I mean? Like that's yeah. It keeps you in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I just got into jiu-jitsu myself not too long ago, and it's a brand new puzzle, and that's what I like about it. Every day I feel like I'm learning something new, and then the day after I feel like I forgot it all. It's just It's a crazy journey. And same sort of thing, no background at all. Back to the fight. I mean, here it is. I mean, do you feel at all like you're back against the wall on 2-fight losing streak heading into this?
Yeah, 100%. It's obvious. It's obvious, right? So that's it.
So who are your main training partners for this camp?
So we have a good solid group of guys down here at Toronto Top Team, and we've kept like good relations and still kind of keep training. Mind you, it's like way harder, but just with the same guys back over Toronto BJJ and whatnot. You know what I mean? So just getting it in. Everybody's still training, and that's the thing, right? It's just the facilities are just closed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's very different in these modified training camps, and it's got to be hard to adjust. You're used to training a certain way for so many years, and now it's kind of all
adds a little bit of like difficulty, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess last question here is, what can we expect from you on July 17th?
I think it's gonna be a good fight. I think that's it. I think I know, for the guys that like really know me and whatnot, they know there's this one's just for me. You know what I mean? I have nothing else to prove. This one's for me. And obviously to anybody that's seen me from day one, compete. This one's for them too. So that's it. That's it, man. This is gonna be a fight for those guys, and hopefully it brings in you guys too. But I'm really looking forward to this fight. I'm really looking forward to it. Couldn't have been a better opponent. It's a good fight. And
then lastly, is there any social media or any sponsors you want to thank before we social media to plug or any sponsors to thank before we end it?
Yeah, absolutely. Just everybody back home in London, Ontario, Adrenaline Training Center, Bazooka Joe Kickboxing, Toronto BJJ, Toronto Top Team, and obviously, you know what, Dr. King Faisal. If anybody, if anybody's watching this and they're with the Ontario scene, this guy like takes care of everybody's medicals and everything, takes care of us. He's the king. So also want to give a big shout out to Dr. King Faisal.